All right, we're going to be covering every NBA move from June 27th to July 1st. I've made a nice little chart for us, and I have a key talking point for every single move, and I'm super excited to get into this. So on June 27th, we saw Nas Reid sign with the Timberwolves for 5 years. It's a long-term deal that locks up one of the best league's best bench scorers, giving Minnesota a front court versatility, continuity into their contention window. On June 28th, we saw the Thunder trade Dylan Jones, a second wizard for the Wizards, Colby Jones. This helps the OKC Thunder clear some cap space, shift to the mid to first round, upside towards a rotation player in Colby Jones, who they can waive and have an extra roster spot for their incoming first rounders. Garrett Temple signs with the Raptors for 1 year, $3.6 million. That's a veteran two-way guard that has experience, defensive depth to add to the Toronto backcourt with their 2 stars over there. And Nicholas Batum declines his $4.9 million option. So he's betting to get extension elsewhere, possibly, or maybe re-signing or restructuring his deal. Sam Merrill goes to the Cavaliers for 4 years, $38 million. Sharpshooting off the bench gives the Cavs a cheap 3-and-D guard to space the floor and help Donovan Mitchell. Davion Mitchell signs with the Heat for 2 years, $24 million. Mitchell's lockdown perimeter defense fills the Miami need for kind of that wing or perimeter toughness that they're looking for on a thin backcourt rotation that they have over there. The Warriors tender Jonathan Kuminga to a $7.9 million. So he becomes a restricted free agent. This could be a high upside move for the forward if he gets a team-friendly price. It's kind of a gamble because someone could come in and offer him a lot of money, like the Brooklyn Nets. Lonzo Ball signs with the Cavaliers for Isaac Okoro. This is going to be an upgrade for two-way potential by swapping, Okoro, and Ball is kind of unproven at this point. So we're going to see if his defensive prowess can be established and help out that Cavs team. I feel like they really needed it. June 29th, let's move over. DeAndre Ayton does a buyout. He's actually set for today's July 2nd, so he's set to possibly make a move to either the Lakers or the Pacers. This helps Portland retool post-Dame, and he can chase a payday with a contender. Jabari Smith is the next person on the list here. So let me keep this going. Okay, there we go. So yeah, Jabari Smith is next up on the list here. Number 3 overall pick on a rookie max shows that Houston is committed to pairing him long-term with Kevin Durant. He signs for 5 years, $122 million. AJ Mitchell signs with the Thunder for 3 years on a $9 million deal. He's an unproven kind of player right now, but they're betting that he can, become a key rotation spark for them off the bench. And I think that's the right move. He's on a team-friendly deal as well. Eric Gordon declines his $3.4 million option. He's still going to be betting that someone can offer him a multi-year deal, possibly a bigger payday. Bobby Portis signs with the Bucks for 3 years, $44 million, re-signing to the Milwaukee Bucks. It's top bench rebounder and floor spacer that they keep over there next to Giannis, which is much needed right now. James Harden to the Clippers for a 2-year, $81 million deal. He returns and cements LA's backcourt firepower, playmaking alongside Kawhi Leonard. And the Sixers decline Lonnie Walker's $2.9 million option. Philadelphia is going to let him walk to, increase the minutes of Tyrese Maxey and their budding rookie in Jared. Jazz trade Colin Sexton and the 2030 second for Hornets Yusuf Nurkic. Utah is prioritizing size, interior passing, and Nurkic over Sexton's scoring off the bench because they have a bunch of guards that they just drafted. Duncan Robinson declines his $20 million option there. So they're going to look for a higher, option with a different team. And I believe he signed with Detroit. That should be covered later in this video. Julius Randle signs with the Timberwolves, 3 years, $100 million. Adds a veteran, double consistency, and he can match and balance out with Anthony Edwards on the inside-out dynamic that they have. Kelly Oubre picks up his $8.4 million option. He's going to stick with Philly. High energy wing, can provide scoring off the bench, and I think that's solid for them. Dorian Finney-Smith declines his $15.4 million option. DFS is going to have his 3-and-D profile hitting the open market, and we saw that he signed over with the Houston Rockets, which we'll comment on later. The DOJ is investigating Malik Beasley for gambling, off-court scrutiny, clouds free agency for Beasley. So his market value is going to be very, very low for whoever ends up getting him after all this stuff happens. LeBron James exercised his $52.6 million option there with the LA Lakers. He's going to try to make another title push before the free agency chaos, and the chaos has already begun. Jalen Williams signed with J-Will, signed for three years, $24 million. The role player off the bench on a team-friendly rate. He's going to maintain the playoff depth for them and a nice center rotation. Let's go ahead and move to June 30th. So this is actually going to start from the bottom there. You guys can see Gary Trent retains with Milwaukee. They get a backcourt shooter on a bench bargain, 2-year, $7.5 million deal. Trendon Watford, 76ers, 2-year, $5.3 million option there. They add a versatile forward depth, and betting on Watford can help carve out their rotation a little bit. Jordan Clarkson signed with the Knicks after waivers. I thought that was a great fit. New York is becoming an 8 to 9 deep team, which is exactly what they needed. So they've added a lot of depth, and we're going to cover that here. Torian Prince signs with the Bucks on a 2-year, $7.1 million deal. He's a fantastic 3-and-D wing. I feel like the Lakers could be another team that could, use a guy like Prince. He's fantastic. He's going to be amazing with Giannis over there. Mason Plumlee signs with the Hornets. Very confusing move for me. I know they lost Nurkic, so I guess they needed Plumlee, but man, they could have just picked up someone younger at this point. They need to go towards the youth. Luke Kennard, Hawks 1-year deal for $11 million. I feel like that's a really cheap deal for a Luke Kennard level player. He didn't do much in the playoffs against the Thunder, but he can help the high octane offense behind Trae Young over there. Nigel Hayes Davis to the Suns for a 1-year deal. They're betting on this overseas forward with instincts and add some depth to their playoff rotation. He was the MVP overseas, by the way. Tyus Jones, Magic 1 year for $7 million. Great veteran leadership. He's going to be, point of the attack, and he can guide that young backcourt duo and frontcourt duo as well. So fantastic over there. The Hawks acquire Alexander Walker, sign and trade. Atlanta get, leverage their mid-level exception to land a combo guard, preserve future flexibility. They also sign him for a 4-year, $62 million deal, multi-year deal, backcourt continuity around young defensive guy. Luka Garza signs with the Celtics for 2 years, 5.5. I think this is a solid move. He's an upside player, analytical type of swing play here. He could be a late blooming big man to bolster the front court scoring. Rich Paul mentions no Lakers trade for LeBron. There's been rumors about it, but I think they're going to stabilize in the offseason here. Probably, possibly sign DeAndre Ayton today. Brook Lopez, Clippers, 2 years, $18 million. LA adds rim protection, veteran screening ability behind Ivica Zubac. Karis LeVert, Pistons, 2 years, $29 million deal. Detroit bets on LeVert's scoring versatility to bolster their rebuilding backcourt situation going on over there. Clint Capella signs with the Rockets again for 3 years, $21 million. Reuniting with the former rim running anchor to protect their paint around, the players that they have. Luke Cornett signs with the Spurs 4 years, $41 million. San Antonio invest in a big that can mentor their young front court guys. Kevon Looney, Pelicans, 2 years, $16 million. Very confusing deal because they just picked up Derek Queen. They don't really need help around Zion. They need spacing. I guess it adds some defensive front court depth for them. And let's see, Bruce Brown, Nuggets for a 1-year deal. Fantastic deal for them. It can only work out in their favor because it'll be an expiring type of deal, and he was fantastic for them. So possibly they can, reunite and possibly go for another contending year. Kevin Porter Jr. signs back with the Bucks for 2 years, 11 million. They retain his scoring punch for Milwaukee's title push. Tyler Jerome signs with the Grizzlies, 3 years, 28 million. Memphis locks up a secondary playmaker. They really needed it after losing Bane, extending the continuity in their guard rotation. The Nuggets trade MPJ a 2032 first round pick for Cam Johnson. They wanted to prioritize 3-point shooting off of movement and cap flexibility over the scoring punch of MPJ, and that's exactly what they ended up doing. D'Angelo Russell signed with the Mavericks for 2 years, 13 million. He's going to add some playmaking around their backcourt balance. And Trey Jones, Bulls, 3 years, 24 million. He's a floor general familiar with their system to stabilize their guard rotation. Jake LaRavia is another great signing for the Lakers, 2 years, 12 million. LA invests in a high upside wing to develop around LeBron and Luka. Grizzlies and Cole Anthony, are talking about cap space talks. So we could see Cole Anthony being someone that could possibly get an extension, possibly let go. We're not really sure. I don't think there's been news about that. Otherwise, I'd know. Cam Spencer, Grizzlies, 2 years, 4.5 million. Memphis adds a two-way wing depth on a cheap deal to bolster their bench defense there. Paul Reed, B-ball Paul, I believe. Pistons, 2 years, 11 million. They reacquire the versatile forward who can guard multiple positions. Dorian Finney-Smith, Rockets, 4 years, 53 million. As I mentioned, his name would come up a little bit later in the video. The Houston Rockets invest in a veteran-built 3-and-D mold type of player next to Kevin Durant. Santi Aldama signs with the Grizzlies, 3 years, 52 million. Wasn't really happy about this deal for the Grizzlies. Kind of felt like an overpay. He brings versatility, shooting, floor spacing type of thing in their rotation, but felt a little steep for that level of a player. Jaren Jackson Jr. signs with the Grizzlies for 5 years, 240 million. He also got turf toe recently, so he's going to have to figure out, recovering for that for the offseason. So that's not the best way to start the offseason for the Grizzlies. He's a two-way anchor for them alongside Ja Morant. Obviously brings that defensive identity that they're looking for, and great extension for him. Sad he got hurt. Mike Brown is leading the Knicks head coaching search right now. He got a second meeting over there with them, and now we are going to move over to July 1st. The rest of the trades and movements that we've seen. July 1st kicked off with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with the Thunder signing a 4-year, 285 million extension, and he's going to secure, being a franchise cornerstone, the longest tenured Thunder, the best player, I guess, and he's going to reshape the Thunder's long-term salary structure for them. And we should probably be hearing about J-Dub and Chet soon. Gershon Yabusele is going to sign with the Knicks, also adding high-end athleticism, mid-range scoring potential to the front court, and more depth. Miles Turner signs with the Bucks, 4 years, 107 million. The Bucks made 2 back-to-back, blockbuster moves, if you can call it that. The most surprising and shocking moves of the offseason, where they signed Miles Turner, who came off a Game 7 with the Pacers in the NBA Finals, and then they move over and they waive Damian Lillard. A lot of people don't agree with this. I actually love this for the Bucks. If you want to keep your prized player in Giannis, you have to make these types of moves. A lot of teams are nervous about making moves like this, like the Lakers. They're not willing to go all the way to really support LeBron James, whereas the Bucks are willing to do anything to keep Giannis. And I agree with this move. You got to do what you got to do, man. Dame's not playing next year. You have to be competitive next year. This gives them flexibility. Miles Turner is an amazing upgrade. And I think, they're going to do a lot better than people are predicting. Just by having Giannis, you can win 45 games. If you add a Miles Turner defense, you can win possibly more than that. So that's where I'm kind of headed with them. They can be like a 5-6 seed, but still have some opportunity to contend, even make more moves later on. The Kings trade Jonas Valanciunas to the Nuggets for Dario Saric. Very confusing move here. Don't understand it at all. There's nothing I can say about this bad move. Gary Harris, Bucks, 2 years, great move for them. Add a veteran perimeter, stability off the bench for Milwaukee on a really solid deal there. Pat Connaughton picks for Micic. Bucks and Hornets make this trade. I actually like Micic on the Bucks. They need a point guard over there. That Connaughton is leaving, and I feel like they can have a lead guard depth from the bench. And Mitch's playmaking is amazing. He just knows where to be, how to play, and I think that's a really good pickup for them. Dennis Schroeder to the Kings, 3 years. They needed a point guard, so I'm guessing Russell Westbrook's not going to end up over there after signing Dennis Schroeder for 3 years, $45 million. He has speed and the pick and roll prowess. We've already seen that, and it's going to help their playmaking void with their recent moves. Jericho Sims, Bucks, 2 years. Sims is a high energy guy, rim running, backup big, cost effective deal. Bucks are making solid moves on the edges here, and I think that's exactly what they should be doing. Sandro Mamu, I can't say his full name. Mamu is going to the Raptors. He's a Spurs legend. Toronto gained a stretch 5 option to diversify their lineup, and I think that's a solid move. But this was even more confusing when the Raptors went ahead and signed a 4-year, $104 million extension to Jakob Poeltl. Very confusing. Top tier defensive anchor, pick and roll guy, but we haven't really seen how this roster gels, and they've extended a lot of their guys very early. So I'm guessing they really want to be in playoff contention mode, but not sure if that's what's going to happen for the Raptors this year. I do think they can be like a 7 or 8 seed, but if you're really contending in the play-in, is it really doing much for you? Josh Minot signs with the Celtics, 2-year, $5 million. Just a youth shooting upside guy that they could possibly flip later. He has 3-point accuracy, and that's really what they're looking for. 3-point shooters on the cheap for next year around Brown. Tim Hardaway Jr. signs with the Nuggets on a veteran. He's a veteran wing shooter on a veteran minimum around Nikola Jokic's playmaking. Amazing move by the Denver Nuggets. They've knocked it out of the park with all their moves. Drew Eubanks waived to the Kings for a 1-year deal. Sacramento is betting on his floor spacing, athleticism. I want to go back. Oh, also they're replacing Tristan Thompson. I want to go back to the Nuggets move. Signing Tim Hardaway Jr. on a vet minimum is like a steal of a deal. Just had to quickly mention that. Like, I feel like every team could have used, him on that type of deal. Duncan Robinson, Pistons, 3 years, $48 million. Detroit injects some elite shooting off the bench, and they get some floor spacing for their young core. Trey Mann to the Hornets for 3 years, $24 million. That was added last night. That was the last move of free agency so far. They shore up their backcourt scoring with their upside for the former Thunder reserve, and he's just a breakout level scorer. So hopefully you guys enjoyed all the transactions. I covered every single one of them here. Appreciate you guys for enjoying this, and peace out.